naomba uweze kusimama na mheshimu Mungu wote pamoja. Tuombe. Mtakatifu Mungu wetu, umekuja katika ukumbi huu tukitarajia kwamba Bwana utatuongoza kwa kila jambo ambaye ni jema. Asante kwa sababu ya kikao hiki. Asante kwa sababu ya viongozi ambayo wametenga kazi yao kuja pamoja ili tuweze kuona mwongozo kwa jamii. Asante kwa sababu umetusaidia katika jina la Yesu Kristo tumeomba na kuamini. Amen. Asante sana. Wakati huu ningependa kuchukua nafasi kuomba kwamba kuna wapendwa wetu kutoka Nairobi ambayo wametuongoza ili tukue mahali hapa. Hiyo ni Kara team ambayo imetulead kutoka jana mpaka wa leo. Na tunajua sisi wote, kila mmoja wetu tuko chini ya Kara. Tutake tusitake, maana jioni tukienda naenda ndani ya nyumba. Na hiyo nyumba tuna wale watu wanatuchunga. Naitwa Kara, Kenya Alliance of Residents Association. Wale tunakaa. Naomba leo, jana tulikuwa na wana CSCO wetu Bwana Ocheng, lakini kwa sababu ya ambaye ingeweza kuepukika ameenda kuungana na wale ambayo wamepoteza mpendwa wao ili atimise pia ile ilisemekana mourn with those who mourn, si ndio? Tukampea ruhusa akue absent leo, lakini yeye hapana absent. Tuko na Sara hapa ambaye mimi ni mdogo sana kutamka hata jina lake. Atasimama kwa miguu yake, na mimi nikiwa kiongozi wenu wa region hapa ninasema nimechukua mkono wa Mungu kupatia sisi nafasi ya jana na ya leo, kwa sababu hao viongozi wanatakana kila mahali, wametoka Nakuru. Tukasema hata sisi tupiganie wakuje hapa kwetu pia. Sisi ndio tunawahitaji sana, kwa sababu unajua sisi karibu tuvuke hiyo daraja tuitwe pia city, na tuwezi kuitwa city kama tuwezi kuinteract na kujua yale yanahitajika. Leo ni siku yetu ya civil society. Civil ni wewe. Jana ilikuwa mambo ya biashara, na tukawa na wenye biashara hii, naona hii Mwangaza walikuwa wote hapa, we bombarded them, tunawachapa kiboko kabisa, wakajua kweli kuna pale sisi wenye kutumia stima tunaumia, wakasema wanaenda kujirekebisha. Na leo tunakuja kusema tusemesane yetu as a civil society. Welcome madam. I want to welcome madam for her opening remarks on behalf of. Today she is our CEO and she is well versed. You go to Kara office, she is all over, and she is one of the persons that is the kingpin of reference for Kara. And all of you, you must register. Na wahimiza leo atatueleza jinsi tutakavyokuwa wote Kara. Kindly welcome. Pole, microphone yetu iko inatembea, iko karibu kufika.
Microphone inatembea. Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. How are you? Well, you need shida. Huko land of champions, and you are very dull. You haven't won any trophies.
Well, okay.
Good morning. Thank you very much for coming today. It's an honor. This is the Kara bi-monthly talk series. We've done a series of these events. This is actually our 112th. We've done so far 111 by support of the Hans Seidel Foundation, and we are going to do more. And these are actually just basically forums for members, the public, to engage with the government, the local government, the development partners, the civil organizations, just to come and just have a feel of what is being done right, what is being done wrong, how we can improve on services, now we can have a better future and a better county. Today we are going to be, I know we have a few programs, and we're just going to be talking about our theme, which is now the theme overall the year. That is the role of resident associations and community groups towards strengthening accountability and effective service delivery. As CARA, our mandate as the umbrella body of resident association is to make sure that every neighborhood, every resident has good services given unto them, because it is your right to have good services. Let us have an engaging conversation. Let us ask the right questions. Let us have a better Eldoret, because I'm very sure it is not 100%. You have your issues, and you have issues that you need to deliberate on, issues you have to give. You know, public participation is very important. And sometimes, munaweka viongozi ambao hawawasaidii, na munajua hamusaidiwi, lakini munawachagua tu. But sometimes you need to hold these people accountable. You need to hold yourself accountable. Sometimes, sio kiongozi shida, saa zingine ni sisi wananchi shida. Munajua hivyo? Because sometimes even the small things that we do mess up the county, mess up the country. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. And thank you to Hans Seidel Foundation, who has supported us over the years. And I know you'll continue supporting us and giving us even better, doing better for the locals and also the country. And I know that we are going to have an interactive session and a wonderful session with you. Thank you very much. Mimi sina mengi. First of all is to apologize for our CEO, who is currently out of town. He had an emergency. He had to travel up to Kisumu last evening for a funeral. He would have loved to be here with us. He wanted to be here with us, but because of 1, 2, 3 things, he had to rush to Kisumu. So asanteni sana na Mungu wabariki.
Tuko na wageni wetu wenye tulikuwa tumewaalika ambao watatusaidia kwa maono kwa kujibu maswali ambayo tuko nazo kwa njia mbalimbali. Na naomba kwamba mmoja wetu ambaye ni Bwana Poyet, our town manager, hapo njiani amesema anafika hivi karibuni. Kwa hivyo nasema asante, na tuko na our members who have already arrived from Hans Foundation. They are already here, and we have our friends. In fact, the only part of it is one of us. It's our own. And our Secretary General for the CSOs in our region, Wanadoli, who is so committed in all areas, is also here today. He's fast with the knowledge. Here knowledge is just about to graduate with a master's degree. You can imagine that is one of us. We are backing him up. So these are the people that we desire to give us levels of manual leadership. And we have, yes, we have Johnson. Johnson is around. He's around. Yeah, so this will be our panelists who will be here. And let us take time to ask them questions. The right questions, vile Madam amesema, so that when we live here, we have a way forward. The purpose is way forward. Na siri ni kwamba partnership. Ukitoka hapa, tafuta partnership na watu kama hao. Wamesema, Madam amesema, hii ni ya 112. Sponsor ile wamesponsor pamoja ya 112. Ni hata sisi tunataka hiyo leo katika Uasin Gishu. We also need that sponsorship. We also need that partnership. So, Madam, now, as we wait for our manager to come, county manager, I will request at this point our Hans Foundation, Hans Seidel Foundation. I don't know. I will say the director, or we'll hear from him, isn't it? Let us welcome Bwana Johnson, Robertson. Let us welcome Bwana Robertson with a hearty clap. He's giving his remarks, but at one point he will be here for us to engage them. Karibu Robertson.
Asante sana Mr. Richard Komanyala for the introduction. Wananchi wa Eldoret, mabibi na mabwana, hamjambo. Habari ya asubuhi. Kama Bwana Richard amesema, majina yangu ni Robertson Kapusho na nimetoka Nairobi. Ninafanya kazi na hili shirika ambalo linaitwa Hansel Foundation. Hansel Foundation ni shirika sita la Kenya. Its origin is in Germany. Ni shirika la Kijerumani, shirika ambalo linafanya kazi in the sector of democracy and governance. So our mission, I don't know whether it's down here, is promoting democracy, peace and development. Ni shirika ambalo linafanya hii kazi in Germany since the 1960s, and it continues together with other such organizations to Germany being one of the strong democracies it is today. And as that was successful.
First of all, I'd like to say that my name is Joseph Doni. I represent the non-state actors. So the non-state actors, all of us here, as members of the civil society, community-based groups, youth groups, women groups, residents as associations, right? The NGOs, trusts, all of us are non-state actors. Because we don't subscribe to the mechanisms of any government. We are there to provide some oversight role, right? The civil society, the community groups are there to serve the community in various aspects. We are there to complement the work of the government, right? We are there to collaborate, number one. We are there to partner with the government, number two. Yeah. We are there to even play an oversight role as members of the civil society. And I know today this is just a networking session, and of course we don't have the monopoly of ideas. In fact, in our midst today, I know we have various, very strong leaders who have ideas, various strong leaders who have served in the government in senior positions. I can see my good friend Mr. Joseph Kendagor, who was a town clerk for many years in our county of Uasin Gishu, and he's a member of Kapsoya Welfare Residents Association, right? And I'm sure he has a lot of, skills and issues to highlight which can build us as members of the community groups. Our good friend, Senior Menjo, he has interacted with everything which we are doing here today. You know, there are leaders whom we can, look upon as reference, point of view. Mr. Barno and the others, my friend clergy from Munyaka there, these are very strong people. Of course, our chair lady, Benedine, the chair lady of the civil society of Uasin Gishu, who has worked with various NGOs on issues of accountability. So we are just here to talk about our roles. We are here to talk about how we can enhance service delivery, how we can catalyze the process of development, right? How we can make our communities, our cities to be better. And of course, lastly, my good friend, our expert, Mr. Kotut, who is very vast on issues of social accountability. We are just here to share and build each other as members of the community groups. So I want to start by saying that the Uasin Gishu Civil Society Network is a network of registered groups who have come together to form a consortium. And the main aim of this Uasin Gishu Civil Society Network is to foster development, right? To be a platform whereby organizations can meet and enhance their capacity in service delivery. It is a platform where organizations can meet and gain in terms of organizational, capacity development. This is a forum where we can have a collective voice. For you to make sure that you deliver your point to any government, be it national government or be it do it alone, you will be termed as a person who is individualistic, and no one will take you serious, right? So civil society has played critical role in any given dispensation in Kenya, in Uasin Gishu. A lot has happened, and a lot is happening as a result of the partnership of civil society community groups in our realm today. And we have various thematic areas. We are organized in such a way that we have various thematic areas where we dispense our services. And before that, I want to say that we have the organizing committee, which is made up of our president, Madam Benedine Kipruto. I'm the Secretary General of the committee. We have the treasurer, and we have the programs coordinator. And then the executive committee is also made up of heads of various thematic areas. We have 6 thematic areas. 1, we have groups which deal on issues of governance and peace building, right? So if you are a member of any community group and you you dispense your services on issues to do with peace building, leadership and governance, then you're better placed to join that thematic group. Number 2, we have a thematic group known as human rights. Human rights, of course, they have done a lot. They have succeeded. We have some milestones. And then we also have education, innovation, and entrepreneurship, which deals with issues of education, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We also have gender department. So gender is a very wide term, which encompasses youth, women, PWDs, anything on social protection falls under gender, right? Then we have health thematic area, and of course they have done a lot in our civil society. And then we have the last one, which I have not mentioned, is environment and climate change. And of course, at the moment, the talk is about environment and climate change and sustainability. Sidio, saizi kila, hiyo tunaita, the development debates. Climate change, environment, sustainability. That is now what we are doing in our civil society. Now, it is very, very important to know that as members of the civil society, as members of the community groups, it is very much important to know that we have a very big role to play. We have a very big role to play. Tuko na kazi kubwa sana, which the government relies. Serikali yetu ina rely kwa ile kazi ambayo tunafanya, because even the biggest democracies, USA, USSR, Russia, the big democracies, they rely on the support of the non-state actors. They cannot develop alone, socially, economically, politically. They cannot develop because they must rely. So the relationship should be symbiotic, so that we regard each other as partners in development, right? We regard each other as partners in development, because we have our role as a civil society or the non-state actors, and the government have their role, as being the primary, group which are mandated by the Constitution to now, deliver. Sasawa? Are we together, members? Asante. Yeah. Hapo ikoje, Mr. Mungenei, my very good friend from Mumetet. Yeah, I'm very happy to see you today. And a lot has happened. A lot has been documented as success stories. A lot of things. And hata tukisema tukae hapa na tuzungumzie the success stories which community groups have done, we will actually be amazed. Sasa we will be amazed. We have people who have been sponsored, through education as a result of community groups, right? We have development in the health sector as a result of community groups. We have institutions which have been informed to be accountable as a result of community groups, right? We can talk about social capital as a result of community groups. And social development, because any government which is looking at economic development at the expense of social development, that government is doomed to fail. But the non-state actors are there now to make sure that social development of the members are very much, it is very much, encouraged. So I want to say that sisi kama community groups tukiwa pale mashinani, we have a big role into pushing the government so that we can realize our aspirations. We can realize the aspirations of better service delivery. We have a big role, very big role, and I'm sure nikisema tuanzie kwa ile kona, role yetu or what we've been able to achieve in our own small ways, you'll be amazed to hear that what we are doing in the ground, pengine tunafanya tu kwa njia rahisi tu, in a very small, way, in a very small scale, but what we are doing in the community is impacting a lot in the outcomes of the policies of any government. And I just want to strengthen that we are being protected. Tukiwa pale mashinani, we are being guided by the government, by the Constitution, so that we should not fear anything. We are being guided by the Constitution. So I just want to remind you, maybe one or two articles which are there in the Constitution which is guiding us. And of course, my colleague in our presentation, she's going to share more. If we look at Article 1 in our Constitution, you can just note it somewhere. Inasema nini? All the powers, all the sovereign powers belongs to the people. Sindio? Yeah? Ile nguvu ambayo our elected leaders wana, we've just transferred those powers into our elected leaders, right? The senators, the governors, members of the county assemblies, MPs, members of the National Assembly, the president. all those powers, they are delegated because we have given them those powers. So who is powerful? Ni sisi ama ni yao? Ni sisi ama ni yao viongozi? Ni sisi, si ndio? But the question is, do we act as if we are powerful? Ama ni yao? Do we act as if we are powerful pale kwa community? Lakini members of parliament wanakuja hapo na hiyo magari kubwa kubwa, kwanza the way they arrive, that shows power, si ndio? Na hiyo bendera hapo. I wish that there was a way of reminding them when they enter into a public function, even a master of ceremony aseme haya, we acknowledge presence ya viongozi wetu, tunawapenda sana. Yes, lakini sasa nguvu ni kwa raia, si ndio? Because you are the servants, si ndio? You are the servants. You are given mandate to serve by the people, si ndio? Sasawa. Because we are the one who gave them the mandate to serve. Sasawa. Yeah, so we are powerful. So the moment we realize that we are powerful, that will be the genesis of a lot of change in our communities. So all the powers belongs to us. Hata tukienda pale kwa public participation, we are being guided by the act of public participation, si ndio? Tukiingia kwa ofisi na ku request for any information which we feel it is important to us as leaders in our own spheres, we are being guided by access to information acts, si ndio? So I'm just here to just encourage you that we are powerful and we are being guided by the constitution. Sasawa. So that by the time we are going outside to dispense our duties, we will actually be more informed that we should not fear anything. So I will not speak much, and because I'm here with my colleagues, just by show of hands, those who are members of our CSO network, maybe Senior Barno Chief. Chief Barno is our former chair, is part of the board of directors. Our president, Madam Benidin Kipruto, Mr. Omanyala is part of us in the civil society, representing an NGO called ECPO. And then we have our sister, yes, Vivian, who is also part of us. We also have our media guy, who is also part of the civil society network. And we welcome all of you to be members, because when you become a member, you subscribe. We will now link you with the relevant department. You are going to benefit in terms of trainings, writing proposals for funding, right? And if you join, I'm sure that you are going to be a very, very, very informed person. Then lastly, I've seen the mission of CARA to empower resident associations to transform neighborhoods through inspired action. The question is, are we inspired? Are we empowered as community groups? Right? Are we expired or impired? Expired. Yeah, of course, the fact that we are here means that we are empowered, and you want to be empowered. And then lastly, of course, through Menjo. Squeezy serikali, some time back, they used to do things their own ways. Sasawa. So nowadays, before they even think of doing things in their own way, wanaangalia kando, sindio? Because they know that community members are empowered. Sasawa. Hata nakumbuka tukiwa na public participation, maneno ya maji, the other time, members spoke, watu walizungumza sana. Watu walizungumza kabisa. So, but of course we had a section of 1 or 2 people who were siding with the main team. But they were reminded that if one person just wakes up and go to court, everything will stop. Just one person. Hata kama nimechukua piece of paper hivi na niandike with a very bad handwriting, stop this process, the judge is obligated to stop that process. Ndio waseme we want to hear what Menjo is saying. Sawa? Yeah, that is our power. So the government nowadays is very keen on issues of public participation. We are aware today everyone is rushing to this town because they want to subscribe to the constitution. Because if they don't do that, then the entire process will be null and void. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you, and my sister will proceed after some time. She will remind us of our role. What is our role, and how can we become effective leaders in our own spheres of influence? Because that little sphere of influence which we have in the community is very vital for social, economic, and political development of any given country. So thank you so much, and may God bless you. Asanteni sana.
I think we have been enlightened. Now you can see your position. You can see your importance, that even the senior government of Russia or America cannot exist without non-actors. Non-state actors. Si tuko kwa shule. Sinaona nimejua inaitwa non-state actors. And who are the non-state actors? You and me, isn't it? Without you and me, there will be no superiority, isn't it? Even without you and me, there will be no county government, isn't it? So the county government is you, and this is your day today. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us and letting us know that we are the power. Hata hiyo bendere, we are supposed to be waheshimiwa. Sisi ndio waheshimiwa, tumeheshimu hiyo bendere huko. Kwa hivyo nyinyi ndio waheshimiwa. Thank you very much. At this point, I want to welcome my very own brother. We have journeyed together. We have toiled together. Today, you can get overhead lights in our city here to be, which came through no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. She'll have her time. There's her time. Bwana Kotut, who has journeyed with us so highly in the first phase of KISIP, which encompassed 15 counties, as a beginner of that project in Kenya. And we were rated the best. And I was the chairman of the chairmen in our county. And our county led, and our governor, the Hon Mandago, was rated the best and was given that appreciation by His Excellency the President in Nairobi. And that's why today we have proceeded to have phase 1, phase 2, and we are just about to talk of phase 3. Phase 2 we have already had. And this was the architect with me in our county here. Today, he's so loaded, and we requested him to come and share with us, sharing with our own people who have grown with us. Sini kitu ya maana sana. Sini kitu ya maana sana. Bwana Kotutu, karibu kwanza, asante kwa kuheshimu this call. Welcome. These are your people. I don't want to speak about your CV. It is so wide, and they have benefited from you. Give them the light.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're using it for recording. Okay, thank you. So, thank you, my brother Omanyala. Thank you, Dolly. And it's always a pleasure to see these faces. Most of them are the people that we interacted in one way or the other. And being back to the city of Eldoret to have this discussion is really something that I really proudly associate myself with. My name is Johnston Kotut, as I earlier been pointed out. on this particular forum. I come in as a social accountability expert. As pointed out by our brother Omanyala, some time back I worked in the Municipal Council of Eldoret until, I think I started working in Municipal Council of Eldoret in the year 1999 until 2017, where I also partly worked with the county government of Uasin Gishu. And my role in the Municipal Council of Eldoret was to organize community representation groups. We had the Area Development Committee, and I'm happy to see some of the members of those area development committees at that time. And my effort in terms of organizing the ADCs, which Dolly, Omanyala, and the rest of us who are here were members, gave me that passion to dig further into issues to do with social accountability. And then when the World Bank program came, I also actively participated in organizing the community in the Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Program, which now gave me an opportunity, after working with the county government of Uasin Gishu, to transit and start working with the World Bank. So between 2017 and 2022, I was working with the World Bank as a consultant on issues to do with public participation. And it gave me an opportunity to further enrich my skills in terms of how communities would be able to participate, how organized groups would be able to contribute to the development of their respective counties, and how social accountability measures have to be entrenched in governance issues. That was between 2017 to 2022. In 2022, I left World Bank and worked with an organization they called International Rescue Committee, where I started now involving myself with advocacy issues and also trying to fight for the rights of the refugees in urban areas. So my area of operation was refugees in East Africa. So basically our offices were based in Nairobi, with occasionally looking at the refugees in the urban settlements of Kampala, and also refugees in the parts of Addis Ababa. So that was what I was doing between 2022 all the way to 2024. In April of 2024, I transited from International Rescue Committee and I went to an organization they called African Population Health Research Center, where I'm now the policy engagement manager. And what we are basically doing there is to work with the communities to develop pandemic preparedness policy framework for East Africa. So that is what I'm currently doing, working with the communities within East Africa community for us to develop that pandemic preparedness policy framework, so that in case a pandemic similar to COVID comes again, which we don't hope, then the East Africa community will have a framework that they will be able to refer to, so that it is a harmonized framework that brings all the intervention or all the actions that will be done by the member states of East Africa community. That is where I'm currently there. But for the purpose of this meeting, I was asked to come and share briefly on the role of organized structures in promoting governance and accountability for effective service delivery. And basically, I tried to summarize them with some few points in terms of what are our roles, based on the experience and the interaction that I've had with civil society and the organized groups, including the neighborhoods association, the residents association. So I have few points here that I want to share with you, and I would want you to analyze yourself as a member of this organized structure, whether you are abiding by this or whether you are outside this. If you are not part of these issues that I'll be bringing out, then I think you are likely to be in the wrong place. Because basically, our role as organized groups in terms of promoting social accountability is challenging impunity. If you see yourself challenging impunity in governance, if you see yourself raising issues in governance, and I am really happy that Menjo is here because he's known for that. When there is anything that you see that is not going well in governance, you need to rise and say, this should not happen. This should not be the case. So one of our roles is to challenge impunity. The other one is to foster transparency, to ensure that there is the element of transparency in the dealings of those who are governing us, the dealing of the leaders. There should always be the element of transparency. Anything done in darkness should not be entertained. Anything done without us is done against us. Anything that we have not been involved automatically is something that is meant to harm us. But if anything is brought on the table, then that is now what it ideally should happen. So that is one of the roles of the organized structures. And the other one is policy reform and development. So the ones that I've summarized here are 8 points. First one is monitoring and oversight. If you are not in monitoring and oversight, then you must be on the other 7 that I'll mention. Monitoring and oversight. Ensuring that you constantly monitor the implementation of activities that the government is doing and bringing out to the fore by sharing with the relevant stakeholders, sharing with the community members, saying that this thing is not going as the way it was designed. This thing is not being implemented as the way we were promised. Monitoring and also providing that oversight. And oversight, the community structures, the way you do it is through the social audits. And I know Dolly and Bernadine here are really aware of this, that before any activity or when there is public participation, the first thing that we should always receive is a social audit report from the civil society organization or from the community or from the area development committee, so that it informs the decisions and the actions that are going to be taken by our leaders. The other one, the second point, is advocacy and awareness. You know, we are living in an age where information is not trusted anymore, because there are information from all the quarters. There are information from those who support government. There are information from those who oppose government. And those information are tailored to suit the interest of those particular actors. So wananchi are at the crossroads because they sometimes do not understand which kind of information to trust. But with the emergence of civil society, the organized structures, these ones are neutral and they are the ones that are supposed to provide factual information in the society. I would really long for a day that we are in a public participation meeting and then there are conflicting information. Alafu waseme sasa Barno simama, wewe utuambie ukweli iko wapi. That is when you will realize that the civil society, the organized structures are trusted because the other information could be distorted depending on the interest of those who are having those particular information. So we as civil society, the organized structures, one of our roles is to ensure that we lead in advocacy and we also lead in bringing awareness in the community. The third one is policy research and analysis. This is a very important one. Most of our leaders make decisions which are not based on any kind of research, and they may not go to that extent of doing the research. So the organized structures, the organized community structures should lead in terms of developing this particular research. It should not be a very elaborate research, a simple research that you present wherever there is an opportunity to share with government. During my tenure working with the World Bank, we experienced first-hand information on how research is done in Makueni. I know all of you knows on how public participation was in Makueni County. That when you go to a public participation meeting, the first thing that you will see, even a old grandmother will rise and say, we are coming here today and we are suggesting that we need the support to construct a maternity home here. And she will give reasons. She will say, the next maternity home here is about 20 kilometers away. And the number of mothers who are expecting to use these services is this number. We have so many young people, a certain number who are already getting married and they will be needing the services of this particular maternity. The way they present their information is already a form of a paper. It's a form of a proposal. That shows that the civil society and the organized structures have supported them to develop this particular product that they will be sharing with their community. And I remember at one time we were going there as World Bank, and the way they were presenting their information, then the response from the county was always, oh, we can support that, we don't have resources for this. We can support this, we don't have the resources for this. But when the World Bank team heard about that, they said, can you give us about 5 of these kind of proposals that you'd want to do so that we can support from our hand? Because it was a product of some form of research and some form of analysis. And it is you, the organized structures that are going to support the community to be able to develop that. We want to see the policy briefs from Dolly and Bernadine and the team on various topical issues that is affecting the county. We want to see your position paper. Sometimes position paper is just saying, sisi kama civil society organization, our way in terms of managing the city should be this way. They may not utilize that position paper, but they will constantly make mistakes in one way or the other, and they will come back to that particular paper. We have several forums here in Uasin Gishu that are for the accountability. And for those who are members of Wareng Powerhouse, where I am a member, we throw a lot of information there. And we don't care whether the government takes them or not. But sometimes we had interaction with the governor here, and he told us, the information that you keep sharing is the one that informs my decision. So you throw the policy papers, throw the position papers to government, whether they take it at that particular time or not, but ultimately they will utilize it. I want to be a little bit fast. The fourth one is litigation and legal advocacy. Don't fear, as civil society, as community structures, to sue. When we were working with a project on urban refugees in Nairobi, you see now, dealing with refugees, you need to be a little bit sensitive in matters with dealing with government. Because you don't have to go and tell government it is our right. Refugees needs to have business licenses. Refugees needs access to housing. They will not take it. They will say, we are not yet even able to take care of our people. Then you are talking about refugees. I remember when we went to Kampala and we met with the PS in charge of social protection. And we told them, we need refugees to be included in social protection measures. And they told us, okay, how do you want us to include? Then we explained how we thought that they should basically include the refugees. Then at the end of it all, he asked me, my brother from Kenya, if you have food in your house, and the food is only enough for your children, it is not even enough for your children, will you take care of your neighbor's children, or you will first make sure that your children are satisfied? I said, okay, yeah, we will make sure that our children are satisfied. Then he said, that is what we do in Uganda. We will make sure our children are satisfied before we think of the refugees. So when we were dealing with refugees, we realized it was a little bit difficult. So what we did, we worked with community structures so that CC, Kama International Rescue Committee, we will always go to government with some element of diplomacy. But the community structure that we are working in Nairobi, they are called Pamoja Trust, will organize the communities and the refugees into some form of associations. And we had also some partners like Kituo Cha Sheria. I don't know whether they are here in Eldoret, Dolly. Kituo Cha Sheria. Kituo Cha Sheria were really helping us in one thing, because they were always saying, we go to government with diplomacy, but Kituo Cha Sheria will come following us and saying, where do we sue? Tustaki upande gani? Because their role was just to sue government at any one time. When we were developing the youth policy for Nairobi City County, we were very good bringing the county, telling them how the policy will be very good, how the policy will help the youth. But in the evening, we meet with Kituo Cha Sheria and we tell them, we want the Nairobi City County to commit on this. Once they commit, prepare to sue them so that they will be able to act on that. So we were blowing and at the same time biting. Unauma na una polisa. So civil society organization, we should have those who are supporting the government to implement certain aspects. But we should also have another wing of civil society that they are always going to court kustaki serikali for not doing what the other wing of civil society had supported the government to develop them. Support them in developing a policy. Let that policy be signed in the county assembly. Take the MCAs to Nairobi or Kisumu for approval. Let them approve that. But at the same time, prepare a measure to go to court in the next month if they are not going to implement. The fifth one is capacity building and empowerment. Support in empowering the government, support in empowering the the community members for them to be able to challenge and also demand services. The sixth is collaboration and networking. This is what Dolly talked about. Many international NGOs, and this is a call that is there globally. Now they are talking about localization. They are saying some of the intervention should be done by the local civil society organization. Most of the donors that even are supporting us, even at where we are working, APHRC, donors supporting us, International Rescue Committee, they were now insisting that we will support you on condition that part of the program or the funds that we'll give you will go into the local CSOs or community structures for them to implement the project. Even refugees themselves, they were saying, we do not want people to come and talk about refugees in our absence. So we started working on refugee-led organizations so that they are organizations that refugees. So if our brother here from, I find it hard to pronounce this because of where hence, or HSF. If our brother here from HSF, he may not come directly and implement a project in Eldoret here. he may want to have organized groups that will be partners so that those ones can be able to implement. So you stand a better chance of being the collaborators. IKEA Foundation, Bill Gates Foundation, what they are currently telling us is that we will give you millions of dollars on one condition, that you will be working closely with the civil society and organized community structures. The sixth one is, oh, that was the sixth. The seventh is media engagement. The organized structures should engage the media because media plays a key role in terms of shaping the discussion and also putting accountability aspects to the government. So that wherever the governor commits to do a certain aspect, there should be a person from media there, aenda andike kwa gazeti, ama hata aweke kwa social media. So that next time, if he doesn't do that, then we can go back to that clip. I like these clips that they talk about a few minutes later, a few moments later. They can say the government committed to do this, but a few moments later, they went back to that. So it is you, the organized structures, that will be able to bring the media for them to be engaged. Final one is innovation and reforms. The innovation could be brought about by us, the organized structures. The innovation will be brought about by us, the civil society organization, and the reforms that are required. We have seen that governance would not be effectively delivered if the civil society is not strong. And as my parting shot, there are two ways of which you can work with government. Government should give that autonomy completely to the civil society, the organized structures, to be independent of themselves, even when they are doing appointments that requires the participation of civil society organization. I have seen a trend that is happening in many counties, that if they want to form the county budget and economic forum, the law requires that there should be a representative from professionals, there should be a representative from business association, there should be a representative from civil society organization. Ideally, what the government should do is to write a letter to the civil society organization and ask them to nominate somebody to participate in that particular body. But what they are doing is they will just pick anybody and say this is a representative of civil society. That completely erodes the intention of that particular aspect, because you, civil society, should be the one nominating somebody to sit there so that that person is accountable to you. But we have seen that kind of mixes that is happening in these counties. You see somebody says, I represent civil society organization, but he has no direct link with the civil society organization. And then you see also some other civil society organization have gone with this tag of saying, we are supporting government. So once they say we are supporting government, kwisha maneno. Because they are the ones who should support government by bringing out the negative aspects of that government. That is the support that is required. But if you say we are there supporting government, we are working with government, then wananchi wako kwa taabani, because they will be left on their own. The day that you will see Menja now is fully in government, kwisha sisi. Because who will now speak on our behalf? Unless if other Menjos, other Barnos, other Bernardines will come up. So I don't want to talk much about those. I know we will, maybe in the panel, we'll still have an opportunity to answer one or two questions. But that is basically what I had prepared to share with you, the role of organized structure. So my parting shot, keep your independence. Engage with government as independent actors. But don't go to bed with them, because now you lose your potency. Ile ukali yenu inakwisha. The moment you remember those who were there some time back, wakati ya Shikuku, ndugu yetu alikuwa anaitwa Martin Shikuku. Martin Shikuku was a very effective opposition leader. But the day he went to State House na kakula nini? Ugali. That was the end of the vibrancy of his politics. So nyinyi mukienda huko ati sasa muko kwa mbele hapo kwa kiti ya governor hapo, ati civil society, community organized group are part of this, then how are you going to take the government to account or to let them have effective public participation or accountability if you are part of the system? It becomes completely difficult. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
try to give them. Now, prepare.
Mr. Botik, are you there?
Yes.
Give to Mr. Botik.
Thank you very much. Sasa leo tunavuka haraka sana. I want to welcome our CEO of the Civil Society Network to come forward. Ni wakati wetu sasa. Si tumesikia na tumeelewa kwa nini tuko hapa leo. Basi nadhani kila mmoja wetu ana swali la kuuliza, si ndio? Lakini hata kama kuna swali ya kuuliza, as I've spared him here, he will still be able to answer, isn't it? Lakini mmejua sasa where our questions can go. Nataka tuwe to the point. Uliza swali moja ndio upatie mwenzako pia nafasi aulize ingine. Usiulize 10, uliza moja, patie mwingine pia nafasi. Na tuwe brief. Na useme unauliza swali lako nani? Benjamin ama Kutu. Na bwana Koyet is on the way, pia akifika tutampatia pia nafasi na tutamuuliza pia maswali kuhusu siti, sivyo? So now I will take the first. Now I change my position. I will change my position as I will be working with this, and I will control. Tafadhali ukiona nimekusimamisha, hiyo ni control tu kidogo, sivyo? Ndio tupatie wengine. But let us be very brief, direct to the question. Tumesikia yote, kasi yao yote. Sasa sema tu hapa sikuelewa hivi na hii itakuwa namna gani? Sio itakuwa rahisi. Haya, the first half. We didn't introduce ourselves. Wakati sasa tunauliza ndio utasema wewe ni nani na unatoka nchi gani. Najua Menjo anatoka Sudan. Ndio yeye mrefu kushinda sisi wote.
Asante. Kwa majina ni Mr. Menjo from 64 Residents Association and many other small organizations I've been involved with. Asante sana, our panelists. My question goes to Bwana Kutut. First of all, I like to have been involved in many forums where we try to put things right. And my issue is on public participation. I've come to realize that when we talk of public participation, we have a lot of state-managed sort of public participation where the people involved tend to influence those who are attending these forums. And I think it is of public concern that some law should be enacted on how we are going to have public participation. What kind of audience do we really would like to have in this public participation? How do you balance on the issue of gender? How do you reach them so that you really have people who are balanced and keen on the issue at hand to be discussed? recently we had public participation on these water tariffs. And I realized those we were with, quite a number were saying Eldoret is going to be elevated and we want the water bills to go up. It has to be raised. Then I was wondering what's wrong with these people. If it is a city, does it mean we have to pay more? Because of just the name. And I came to realize there was some influence from the people who organized. So this is a very critical thing which tends to erode the issue of public participation. And as going forward, we need to find a way of really getting the right people. Secondly, second and last, we have had some problem with the kind of leaders we elect. We no longer see who has the right ideas, but rather who has the deep pockets. And if the pockets are deep, we have now lost the issue of getting the right leadership in place. Because the people who have deep pockets, surprisingly, they don't have also deep ideas. But we like them because they come with good money. And in that trend, you get people who want to contribute, will hear no evil, see no evil, and talk no evil. And I think it is even becoming worse now when we are saying we have one of our own as the head of state. Now we have lost completely. So I don't know. Can we have a way of where we can revitalize some of these institutions where we can have the right people raising the issues as they are supposed to be? Because I came to realize when I try to comment on anything, nasema unajua wewe bwana unapenda kutusumbua sana. Siwaje wetu asukume kasi. Najua kasi. Yeye ni mtu amejipanga. But if we are expecting certain services to be delivered by our leaders who have gone through parliament, the money for specific projects to come to our area must first of all pass parliament so that that particular project is captured in parliament, the money is allocated in the same place, and treasury can be able to release the money to the project. But now we say, because he's one of our own, he knows our needs. Can you tell me now, how do we get this money from treasury or rather consolidated account being withdrawn and brought to us through the back door? I don't understand. I need to be educated. Thank you very much.
First 5 questions. I know I'm going to be here. The first 5 questions.
Asante sana Master of Ceremony. Ni kweli lazima tufuate sheria yetu ya conference. Sauti inasikika? Our eminent expert, Kanakotu. I'm happy that we worked with the municipality that I helped to build one of the efficient, structured municipality. Kwamba ulikuwa hapo 1979, no, 89, 99, sorry, when I just through your office, can you help, can you influence the county government to give title deeds, particularly the current scheme, which was sponsored by the World Bank, and it is now about 40 years, they have not got title deeds. More so, the pieces of land that belong to the municipality. Two, I'm happy that you are in the World Bank section. You provide assistance, advice on slum areas. Slum areas are not only in Nairobi. We have slum areas in municipality here, like Manyaka, Roma, Kapungi, Lankas, the most populated section. Eldoret. Can you use your office? Respect you. You are bad, you are very expert, you went to Uganda. So that we see a good life in Angas and our own slum areas. Like for example, in Angas, suppose a fire breaks out in the middle. How will the fire engine? Yes, laborers down block help to get dead. But just that is a drop in the Indian Ocean. Thank you very much.
Spoken from experience. Number 3. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Then we hear the reactions first. Thank you. You have taken note of that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Omanyala. I am John Boyd, lecturer at Kibabi University. So I've been attending most of these forums for a long time. Now, I wish to engage our presenters. One, Mr. Kotut, I discovered is well reached in terms of exposure, dealing with the public issues. Thank you very much. That is very powerful. Madam, still, I really appreciate your work. Now, my first question is, what is the role of CPOs in engaging the county governments, especially to do with finance bills? Yeah, because government come up sometimes with some radical sweeping changes in maybe increasing the rates, land rates, and so forth and so forth. So how do you assist to address the same? Number 2, I don't know whether we still have the, we have been having a lot of CPOs, so most of them briefcase CPOs. You form a CPO, you get money, disappear. So how do you ensure that the law protects that the resources from the public are not misused? Number 3, we have, I know you are dealing, you look, especially Kotut, you are dealing with East Africa. At the present, we have a very radical and very punitive a finance bill which might take us to the graveyard anytime from now. Now, as an organization, do you just leave government do what they want to do? And they are claiming they are now doing what we call public participation. I don't know whether they are doing in the sun or in the moon. Please, we want to hear your voice, especially the CPOs. Mr. Omanyala, we want to hear your views. Msituachie watu watumalize, because soon tutakufa. And then on the same note, Mr. Kotut, we have this bill also on a very raging debate on one man, one coin, one vote, one shilling. I don't know. In our cultures, if I have 3 wives, I share the land based on the number of wives and the property based on the number of wives. I don't know. Kama mtu alizaa watoto wengi, is that our problem as a nation? So if central you produce a lot of children, so why bank a family so that we share resources on equal basis? As CBOs, as our Mr. Kotut, what role do you take on this? So that it does not look like we are marshalling Kenya. So we need all these resources. Notice that walipanga family ndio naona wako saa sana because they wanted more resources. So usizae wengi so that upewe pesa mingi, hapana, jipange. Mwisho, is it possible to take such a forest to the village? Like today, if we were to take it to Manyaka, Abo Center, I think it will make a lot of impact on the society, okay? If you are to take it to Baringo Estate, mali unapata nyumba ya 200 rent. Nyumba ya 200. Ukitaka rent, kama uko na shida ya rent, enda Baringo huko unapata nyumba ya 200, 100. I believe such forests should be taken to those areas because this is where the problems are so much. And finally, I'm from Keses. So Keses, we have had a lot of problems with land titles. I was born, I'm almost now aging, na hiyo kesi haijaisha, and the land issue is still on. Now, I have not heard so much from Omanyala. Hamjawahi kuja kusaidia my brother. Madam, sijawahi kusikia unaongelea mambo ya Keses. We are really suffering. Now we have our university also. I don't know whether you also play a role in mitigating problems affecting universities. Mo is in limbo. So please, I don't know, what role do you play? Kotut. Wewe unasimamia Africa bwana. This stuff. And your own is collapsing. So jenga home ndio ujenge nje. So please, let's hear your voice, eh? And I'm waiting for you very soon, Umanyala. Ndakungojea very soon. Otherwise, thank you very much. And I wish the Eldoret city, though you are not seriously prepared, tengeneza city yako haijaonekana. Bungoma is now better off than Eldoret. Uko saa 6 ni kama saa 8 usiku ni kama saa 6 mchana. Please, can you do something? Mambo maji inatubeba hapa and you are planning to be a city. How? So let's push it. Thank you.
Wow. From a lecturer. Those ones are hot, not hard, but hot. I hope we have taken them. I'm also included in. I've also seen questions for me. As I was seated here, before I give number 5, I'm trying to respond. Niko na a situation vile nilitaka unisaidie na mawazo. Our family sold land, and now the son does not want to sign. He wants to resell and eject the buyers. From my position as a High Court mediator, court annex mediation, when it comes to land, you have touched the land. I know what you are saying. Those are hot ones. When it comes to that, I will also help. If you want me also to help. Yes. Number 5. Number 4. But I really appreciate our lecturer, our own son from within. 4, 5.
Thank you, Mr. Manyala. I can see you are very keen on the way you are giving out the numbers. My name is John Nyongesa Munialo. I come from Soy. I was born in Soy, brought up in Soy. I went in primary school in Soy, went to Kamgetun High School, and then I graduated to be a youth. And I thank God because I can see my mentor seated in front of me here, Madam Benedine. She actually mentored me to be the way I am when I was still a youth. Thank you very much for today's meeting. I was actually I wanted Mr. Dolly to be here because I had some. Oh, fine, thank you. Okay, thank you. There is an issue that I would like the panel to let us know or address. I remember in 2003, under the Public Officers and the Ethics Act, there were some resolutions that were passed, and it was supposed to be implemented. And that one was on conflict of interest when working in public office. Just the way our able Mr. Kotut has told us that you cannot be in a civil society at the same time. You are supposed to put check and balance to the government, and at the same time you are the one rushing to the government to be given. You are the one, you doesn't have time with the CSOs that are around. You are going to mingle with the Senate committees. You are going to mingle with the MCAs who are somewhere seated there. I believe that we need also to be told actually whether this one how this one can be balanced under conflict of interest, because we feel that there is no proper presentation there on the side of CA or of the societies that represents people. And also under the Public Officers Ethics Act, we were told to deal with corruption, nepotism, tribalism, but even at the moment we don't have much of tribalism. We have nepotism, whereby it has turned out to be nepotism, whereby now we find one tribe fighting for a position, but now because you don't go to the same church with the person giving the position, you lose the position. It is awarded to the person who goes in the same church with that leader that is giving out the position. How are we going to address that? And this one has actually affected our county in as far as our theme is concerned, which is actually saying that it is accountability and strengthening service delivery in our county, in Eldoret town. I believe that is our county. Under social responsibility, I wanted to know, is this cosmetic being done by few big people to be seen as if we are participating in public participation, so that they may take their time, go and start implementing what is in their heads rather than implementing what the people have passed? I have an example whereby I come from Soy, and I just live next to Soy Health Center, whereby this Soy Health Center was to be upgraded to be a sub-county hospital, and funds 50 million was actually channeled to the facility to upgrade the facility. Even the engineer was sent to do what he was required to do, and he sent back the report. It was approved, but to our disappointment, we have come to realize that the facility has been moved from where it was supposed to be, and it has been taken somewhere whereby I don't know actually who did the viability of that area, how we are going to get sick people from that area, because it seems as if there was just some few interest of some few people who wanted to take advantage of the majority people living around Soy. Soy being the big name of Soy sub-county, but it seems as if it is not being recognized in Uasin Gishu County. It was just the other day that also we were at Soy High School with a certain mkubwa there. I would not like to mention names. And then there is a board of management at Soy High School who requested that Soy be given a bus. In fact, Soy High School doesn't have a school bus. Hata kama hao ndio wanajiita Soy. So the mkubwa said we will look into it, and then another MCA woke up and said, saa zile unakumbuka Soi, usisahau hata mimi shule yangu ya hapo juu kidogo. Actually things changed. Instead ya wale wengi wenye walikuwa wameuliza, ni ule mmoja kiongozi mkubwa ndiye alipatiwa basi akapeleka hiyo shule yenye iko karibu na yeye. Does it mean that even if we are saying that we have powers, does it mean that in Uasin Gishu County those powers are vested to few individuals? With the CSOs, I expected to get the clear vision, mission, and activities that actually the CSOs are supporting. Those CSOs which are in town here and which are in rural area, because I come from the rural area, and I believe we are very few here coming from rural area. And I would also like to know the implementation strategy, the entry strategy in the community, the indicators. Those are the targets that are supposed to be set those so that we actually see whether we are meeting the targets, and also review meetings, how many meetings they are being done with these CSOs, and also the challenges, achievements, and positive way forward that they have come up with. And also we would like to have flyers or record keeping for such CSOs, so that they may actually motivate other people to do what is required. As per the county development, I believe that the development of this county shall only bear fruits if we run those activities in a programmatic way. Thank you very much.
Lecture, I want to believe, let us just ask a question so that we don't lose our track. Thank you. I think we have taken note of that. Tuulize swali.
Kwa majina naitwa Martin Shikuku. Sasa natokea Trans Nzoia, lakini mzaliwa wa Soi. Swali nataka ongelea juu yake, na shukuru Kara ambao nilichunga nao kitambo ndio kusababisha hata ije hapa. Tulikuwa watu wa kwanza kualika waje, na nimeona tunaendelea kufanya vizuri. Lengo la Kara ilikuwa ni kuengage ama strengthening community accountability na effectiveness of service delivery. Kupitia Kara, wakati wa devolution, fasi ya kwanza mgao ya pesa, I participated under Kara. Ya pili mambo ya devolution policies making, nikaenda kwa niaba ya Kara na wengine tukaenda Kenya School of Governance na Kabete. So we are well conversant with what is supposed to be done. Nashukuru Mr. Kotut for your presentation. Hao watu wote ambao wamechakuliwa ni pa kazi ama wafanyikazi wetu, maana tumewapatia kazi. Na ni kodi tunayo collect ndio wanapata mshahara. Si ni kweli? So wao wako accountable kwa sisi. Lakini ubaya mtu akichakuliwa kienda basi anaanza kuwa boss. Na sisi ambao tumchagua pia tukienda kwake, unaona tena mnakuwa wengine vibaka kusema unajua jamaa anaongea jia fulani. Kama if there's no service delivery, na kuita kiongozi wa nini? And once you earn money from what we are just giving you, but you're not doing the service. Pili ningependa kusema ni hili. Sisi kama civil society, CPO, watu wengine wamechukua tu CPO, self-help group, is only nasema tu ni kikundi ama association, kikundi ya kujitafutia pesa. Kama hiyo ndio watu wameamini. Hata ukienda kwa mtu fulani, twende kwa mkono fulani ya civil society, anasema sisi CPO yetu, CPO yetu. Lakini vizuri waweze kuelezwa pia kwamba they have. Hiyo ndio huwa waambiwi. Anaenda kuchukua certificate huko kama community based organization, lakini haelewi ya kwamba ana majukumu ya kufanya kama hiyo kikundi. Wengi wanataka wafanye hiyo ndio wafanye maendeleo ya come together. Hawajajua wana majukumu sawa na kuendelea mbele na wengine, civil society. Jambo lingine, swali nasema tutafanya swali nitasema tutafanyaje hawa watu, kwa sababu tunawaita hapa, tunawataja CBOs na hawaonekani, hata viongozi wenyewe hawajui kile tunafanya. How will they participate and help us come together as one? Alafu lingine ni hili, niambia ile wa mwisho nitaanza kuacha, lakini niseme sisi tumeongea mambo ya shamba saa hizi. Katiba yetu article 6 nasema all land in Kenya belongs to all Kenyans collectively. Article 61 ukisoma tena pia pale nasema people should share the land equitably. Do we have people sharing land equitably? 2005 mwezi wa 8 kupitia ofisi ya Attorney General waliandika proposal. Hii ni Kenya Gazette number 63. Alikuwa amesema resettlement of landless the squatters and people living in spontaneous places, rural and urban. Nothing took place up to now. Nafikiria ni kwa sisi we have not, hatujatoa sauti kama civil society. Napotoa tunaacha mambo mengine kando. We feel it's good time has come for us to say civil society tukuje pamoja, hata kama ni self help, they are people because they are part of us. Tuongee sauti moja na tuweze kuambia government this is not right. We have, let's imagine tuna national government and county government. Wakati mwingine tunaacha ile county na say ya government juu, na acha ngine tunatenganisha, tunaanza kuendea upande mmoja. Let us all, kama ni ya county tunasema county, kama ni ya national ya national. Mongelea saa hizi tax imeendelea juu. Ndiyo tumeongelea juu yake, maswali imetokea. Lakini sasa jambo moja ni hivi, have we not elected people in that house? So wamekuwa elected, what are they doing? They need to be accountable. Hata kama ingekuwa mambo ya kurecall au back warudi, tutafuta people who are genuine, who can deliver, ili kila mtu aweze kuona amefikia. Sina mengi ya kusema, tu ni kusema kwamba asanteni civil society, lakini tuambie CBOs wote tuweke pamoja, tuongee lugha moja, itakuwa ni vizuri. Mungu awabariki.
Poleni na wasukuma kwa sababu ya muda. Hapa tuko na muda tumepewa. Hata mkiangalia hizo flyers, natakana tuwe tumemaliza saa ngapi. Najua umuhimu ya forums kama hizi. Na nashukuru mnasema tunaweza kupeleka huko nje kwa mabarasa zetu huko ambaye hatutakuwa limited. Si ni wakati tunashukuru tu our organizers kwa kuleta pamoja, kufungua sisi masikio na mawazo yetu. So next is for us to plan ourselves where we have the time. I know we have a lot to ask because we have been told we are the power of the people. So thank you very much. Let's give our team to answer our questions. And I'm sure after they have answered these questions, we could be done. We could be done. But I know still we will have room for another 1, 2, 3 like that. Thank you very much. Please.
This can work, right? Hamjambo tena. Apologies, sauti yangu kidogo utapata haiko clear vizuri kwa sababu ya the normal flu that we get on a daily basis. But I hope I am loud and clear. So first and foremost, I would like to introduce myself. Mimi ninaitwa Benedine Kipruto. I am the chairperson of Uasin Gishu County Civil Society Organization, or network in that case. And I really want to appreciate the organizers of this meeting. It's a very engaging discussion that we are here to share insights and deliberate on issues, challenges, and even share solutions so that we can push our agenda forward as a county. I would like to begin with the last question, and I think he just stepped out, na ingekuwa muhimu sana kama angekuwa ndiposa aweze kusikia. Swali lake ilikuwa ni kuhusu, so ameuliza two questions. One ilikuwa ni on land issues, and particularly that one I know Omanyala will have an input on as our certified mediator within our county. But I just want to mention this, that wangapi wanajua the recent alternative justice system act that was launched? How many of us participated during the launch in Moiben? By show of hands. Okay, hamna? Okay, it's only one person, eh? Oh, two, yes. So we want to appreciate the alternative justice mechanism that has been brought down to the people so that we can push some of these pending issues and pending cases that can be discussed at the community level without necessarily having to go to the court for that procedures. So some of these issues that have been mentioned here, and I think Senior Kendagor mentioned about the land issues in Kipkaren, this other one in, was it in Langas? So those are some of the issues that we can bring and elevate at the civil society level and see how we can push it through the structures that are existing and see how we can push those discussions forward. If there are issues that we feel like they may take long, he was mentioning about land titles that has taken over 40 years. Honestly, those are things that we need to bring on the table and push these discussions through advocacy efforts with the relevant authorities. Earlier on, we mentioned that one voice might not push, Cindy. So if we have different voices joining hands together, then we can push those initiatives. He mentioned about the role of CBOs, the role of civil society organizations. Joseph Dolly earlier on explained how civil society networks and organizations are structured within our county. So ningependa tu kuuliza, how many of us here are registered CBOs by show of hands? How many of us operate as community-based organizations? Okay, how many of us operate as non-governmental organizations, NGOs? Aha, thank you. So what we basically did was that we formed a platform that brings together the CBOs and the NGOs within our county, so that we have that one voice as organizations. One of our key role, when you go there to register your organization, definitely you have a purpose, Cindy, and you want to give back to the community. You either want to do community development, you either want to do community empowerment. So that means you already have a vision, you already have a reason as to why you are existing. So some of the issues that usually comes along when we are talking of briefcase organizations, which I believe in our county we have quite a number of them, is that organizations request for funding to implement activities, ikifika halfway zinaporomoka hama haziendelei. One, because they didn't have that vision. Vision ilianza, but the bearers of the vision along the way ikatidimia. So definitely you will not have achieved your vision. So what are we saying here? That our Department of the Social Services must ensure that they do continuous capacity building. They must do continuous training, and they must also hold accountable these organizations and individuals that come on board to say they would want to do this. So both of us, we must have, that kind of a collaborative approach or a partnership effort, so that as you promise yourself as a CBO, this is what you want to deliver, then the county or the government basically should also hold you accountable. Did you deliver what you had promised? And if not, then that organization can be deregistered actually, so that it doesn't just operate or continue operating illegally in that particular space. So what we are saying is that in our civil society network, there are a lot of benefits. You must first of all become a member of the network, and for you to become a member of the network, these discussions we can have it later on, but basically what we are saying is the platform is there, reach out to us, give us your details, what you're doing as a CBO, what you're doing as an NGO, so that we have joint efforts at the county level. And with that, we'll have an amplified voices at the county level. I also want to answer the question on leadership issues. We said that in every elections, politicians huwa wanakuja na maneno matamu, sio? And we are there, we listen. As the voters, who has the right? Sini wewe kama voter. And at that particular point, you analyze the ideologies of this particular politician. You look at the manifestos and you say, this is a politician or this is a leader that I would want to vote in for. Later on, or midway, the same person doesn't deliver as per your expectations. So whose responsibility is that? Dolly mentioned clearly that Article 1 says what? Sovereign power belongs to the people. So you have that mandate to recall back this particular leader who is not delivering as per your expectations. And how do you do it? You might not do it as an individual, but in a collective platforms, in collective or joint efforts with other organizations or other individuals, you can do this. You come out, you know, talk about the dissatisfaction that you have, of course with facts, because in most of the cases we have ease of alignment and all that. But if you have the facts, you have a responsibility to hold this particular leader accountable. There is the Bill of Rights, and we have the recent one ambayo ilipitishwa on Access to Information Act. I want to believe that we've read that act, and I want to believe that we are actually trying to push and ensure that we get information or whatever information we are looking for within our county governments, and more so in those departments. There was a WASH project that you mentioned, Mambo na Hospitali, for instance. You sit in a public participation forum, you have the discussion, that project is passed, and then what happens? Tumeenda, tukaketi, tungoje implementation ifanyike, sio? We still have a role to have continuous monitoring to ensure that was this particular project that was that we proposed, was it implemented accordingly? And I know in some instances, Senior Omanyala and of course HSF will need to organize forums later on that we will discuss even issues to do with social the social accountability tools that are available within our disposal. Various, including community contracting. We have the tunajita PICs, our community implementing, the project implementing committees, sindio? So what is our role in that as PICs, for instance? We have quite a lot that we can do as a community or as organized community groups. As I finish, so that I also give my counterpart to answer some of the questions, is that John Munialo, you mentioned about the activities and the achievements of the civil society organizations within Uasin Gishu. So I mentioned earlier on that each organization, number one, as you go there to register, you have a vision, you have your mission, and you have what you want to achieve. But as at our level as CSO within Uasin Gishu, we have done quite a lot, despite the challenges that we've had in the past. And I want to begin with the challenges first. One of the challenges that we've encountered is that political goodwill. Previously, sisi kama CSOs, when you introduce yourself as a CSO in most instances, mtu anafikiria we ni activist, menjo. In most cases ukienda kwa media for instance, wakati unaongea unapeana petitions and all that, people would say that is an activist. Sio. And sometimes they would even shun away from, wanasema hiyo ni kawaida yake, hiyo anapiga tu makelele. But what we are saying is, what we are embracing is the dialogue amongst the civil society and the duty bearers within our respective county. So that one challenge has hit us in the past, but we are trying to make inroads. Of course, not saying that we will go in bed with the government, but we are saying we will continue having the dialogue discussions and advocating for those particular issues that we are looking at. Number 2 is inadequate resources. And I want to appreciate you know, the platform kama here, partnership and collaboration. It actually ensures that we utilize the little resources we have at that particular level. If Kara says we will do mobilization and bring people to the room, HSF will say, fine, we will facilitate that particular venue and give you a platform to have that discussion. So if we continue having this and cascade now these discussions to the grassroots level, then we will attain the what do you call, the capacity building or creating that awareness to our individual members within our communities. So what have we achieved so far? On the importance, on the roles that we play as CSOs, and number 1, I would pick on the capacity building and community awareness. Mbeleni tulikuwa na issues na public participation. Sisi kama civil society organizations, we picked that as our role. And we said we would want to sensitize our communities on the importance of having or participating in these discussions and pushing these agendas within our counties or the various bills that are happening. I want to give an example, the ward level public participations, for instance. Our CBOs work at that grassroots level, sindio? So it is our role, we say, kama kuna notice imetokea ya public participation, we encourage our members to go there. Not only going there, but participating meaningfully. I know we have challenges amid hizo mambo na public participation, but when it comes to now full implementation of the act, which we come in as community leaders and organizers to play a role, is that we ensure that we have meaningful participation of all the gender. We talked about participation in youth, participation in women, participation in men, each and every voice to be heard at that particular level. The other achievement that we've had, of course, is on supporting the county governments in developing county policies and even interrogating those policies at the national level. One of the recent example is our governor ali constitute a directorate agenda, and they don't have a gender policy. So what are we saying? That CSOs come in to support, to ensure that we have a gender policy within our county. So our UG county network is actually supporting to ensure that by end of the year we have a gender policy. Youth policy, he mentioned it earlier on, that of course he was part and parcel of that, and I think we are looking forward to the launch of that policy among other policies. So finally, is that at the community level, I want to encourage all of us so that isikuwe ni issue yangu kama Benedine, issue kama yake Menjo, but let it be an issue that we can all have a platform that we can discuss and come up with solutions. Someone said kitambo kwamba problem, yani if you already know the problem, you already know you have the solution, sindio? So let it be part of these solution-oriented mechanisms within our communities. Thank you so much, and I'll give it to my colleague.
Thank you, Benedine, for that. And I think you have listened my work. You have responded to most of the issues that were raised. But I just want to give a quick comment on what Menja pointed out on the issues of public participation. I remember in some forums last year, I think it was the same Kara meeting, and I participated, and we were discussing issues to do with public participation. And I pointed out that there is a very thin line between public participation and public humiliation. What we are seeing in many setups is public humiliation. The public are just used as rubber stamps for some decisions which has already been made elsewhere. And this happens at the county level and even at the national level. Because if you can even remember clearly, like the finance bill for last year, all the engagements that were done in parliament by government, the public rejected it. But when they were now developing their report, they wrote it that now the public are in support of it. So you wonder which public are those. And somebody pointed out here, is this, I think it was Mr. Boit, who pointed out, is this public participation being done in Moon or where? Because any meeting that is done, then they will just say, and I agree with Major, that there is need for all of us collectively to relook on how we are going to address the whole issue of public participation. The threshold has to be set up. I remember in one of the projects that we were working with VSO, we were looking at public participation beyond voice, beyond participation. It is even worse because sometimes it is not even voice, because the basic element of capturing public participation is attendance. That now when you are here, we take some few photos and we say we had a public participation meeting and they made a decision of this kind. The second level is the voice, when you actually participated and you spoke about it. Then the third level now is whether your voice really influenced the decision that was made, or whether your suggestion really influenced what you are talking about. So we still have a serious challenge in public participation. What we are seeing here is public humiliation. It is nothing to do with public participation. So what needs to be done is the civil society organization with the partners to work in relooking at the public participation acts at the national level and even at the county level. I was fully involved in developing most of the public participation acts in the counties, reviewing them. But one thing I noticed is that it was merely copy and paste. I remember at one time when we were in Kisumu and we were going through, it was Siaya County, public participation. So when we were going through the Public Participation Act, at one point the person who was reading some provision said, here in Laikipia County, that is when we noticed, then we started asking, what is happening? Later we realized it was just the copy and paste from Laikipia County. Many people have public participation acts, but they do not even know the provisions of those particular acts. So it is a challenge to the civil society organization and the organized structures to ensure that the implementation of that particular acts are done. It talked about leaders election. Once we have leaders, they fail to deliver on what they are supposed to do. And I think my colleague pointed out even the cosmetic, like the public, they call it public participation committees, or what do you call it? Project implementation committees. You know, if those committees are just there, because if you do a survey, which can be done by even the civil society organization, just to look the participation of those public, it is called project implementation committee, and how they influence the decision. There are some counties, and I will still point out at Makueni and even some Baringo and Elgeyo Marakwet, when we were working on that project with the World Bank, what they were doing is that the project management committee would have to first be presented with a bill of quantities to have a look at it. But we have project implementation committees that do not even know what the bill of quantities provides. We have a project implementation committee that do not even know the project that is happening in their particular place. And in some counties that they are very progressive, they will say before the contractor is paid, the minutes from the public, the project implementation committee has to be there for them to certify. I remember one time in Makueni, there was a project which was stopped by the project management committee because of the supply of the cement that was being used. Because they had the BQ, they said in the BQ you wrote that you will use Bamburi cement. But now we are seeing you are bringing blue triangle cement. So we want you to stick to what you wrote in the BQ. And later it came out that most of the contractors in Makueni County were shying away from implementing projects because it was not lucrative anymore. People were there and they were ensuring, if you said 20 lorries of maram, you will be there to ensure that the 20 lorries of maram were delivered. But here, you only see 2 lorries of maram, and we are all over social media saying, Governor anafanya kazi, or in other counties. But you don't know actually what was in the bill of quantities, how much resources were allocated. I remember at the municipal time when we were still in the municipality, the area development committee, the Omanyala and the rest who were there, insisted that for every project that is done under the local authority transfer fund, you write the amount of money and the duration in that signpost that is normally put, which nowadays some counties put the poster of the photo of the governor. But in many cases it was supposed to be, this is a road from this point to this point. it is supposed to be started at this time and ends at this time. The project cost is 10 million or 20 million, so that wherever the public passes through that road, they will look at the 10 million and the road that is there, and they will be able to ask questions. But go to some other counties, I don't mean this one, you will find that there is a road which has been done, there is a billboard which is there and says courtesy of His Excellency the Governor. What you see is the image of the governor, but not the amount of the money that was spent. You see the buses that are being redistributed through the CDF. I was coming from Nairobi the other day and I was following another bus from a certain institution. And hapo nyuma kuna picha ya MP under the patronages of Honorable so and so. So those kind of things should be addressed by us, the civil society. My brother Boit pointed out very pertinent issues on issues to do with the role of CBOs, and I think you have pointed out that. But I will still point out, for finance bill, CBOs, their role should be more on advocacy, bringing out these issues. What you are addressing here is part of advocacy. But we need to consistently bring out some of the challenges that we are experiencing in finance bill until someone hears us. They may not hear, but we will continuously, like yesterday I saw in Nairobi, there was a demonstration that was being done. And people were singing along the road. There were MPs there were police who were protecting them, but they were passing out the message that this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Then there is also the element of litigation. Sometimes we need to go to that extent of even, like now for public participation. If you feel that the public participation issues were not respected, we need to go to court and challenge and report and start litigation. And sometimes you need to do it even by targeting a certain individual. Because sometimes if you sue the organization alone, they may not respond. But you can sue the governor as a person that they have failed to implement this particular thing. And then they may even be required by the court to come for contempt of court or something of that kind. We need to use all means to ensure that our leaders act on the same. Then my senior Kendagor pointed out on how we can influence the title deed distribution in Karen. This is also another very critical issue that we can do as civil society organizations ourselves. I remember when we were doing the project for Uruma, I'm using live examples that are here in Eldoret. Uruma Primary School, multi-story building that was constructed. There was a time when this project called KENSAP was being implemented elsewhere, and we were reading about it, but nothing was happening on our part. So one time we met with the town clerk, at that time it was Ondimu, and I was saying, oh, you know, KENSAP are implementing projects elsewhere, and we are not seeing the one that is happening in Eldoret. He told me, he gave me the number and the email of the PS housing at that time. It was Tirap Koskei. And I was still a junior employee at that time, but he told me, do an email to the office of the PS and raise the issues that you are raising here. I was hesitant at first, because in government at that time, the issues of protocol and hierarchy was very important. But it is the town clerk who has told me to do it. So I did that email. It was ps@housings.c. That was the time when emails were just coming in. So I wrote that thing and I wrote to the PS. And I was surprised. The next day, somebody told me that there is a call from the Ministry of Housing. The PS is looking for you. So I went there and I sat. The PS called through our offices in the municipality there. And he was asking me, oh, I received an email here on the KENSAP. Are you sure that we don't have any project that is happening within municipality of Eldoret? I told him, yes, sir, we don't have. Then he said, okay, can you bring the proposals that you think you can be able to suggest? Then I suggested we need a primary school in Uruma. We need also some development in Langas. I pointed out the slum areas that were there. Then he told me, next week I'm sending a team there. Then a team came from Nairobi. And they were panicking, saying, we have been instructed by PS to come and look at this particular project. And within 2 months, 3 months, they started the process. Finally, we have the multi-story buildings in Uruma Primary. So what I would also suggest to we, the civil society, sometimes we need to write these letters. And when you are writing a letter, like now, when you are writing a letter about Kipkaren Estate, not having title deed up to now, you write the letter to CEC or CEO Lands, Uasin Gishu County, but you copy the office of the governor, you copy the PS Lands, you copy Senate committee. You know, I like these people who write letters and copy all and sundry. You know, when you copy when you copy the governor, the CS lands will look, the CEC lands will look at it and say, if I don't act, the governor is already aware of this. If the governor will not also act, he sees that this thing has already been copied to the chairman, housing committee in the Senate. And you know that is where governors fear the Senate when they are being grilled. They know that they can be asked a question on this. And you will see an action being taken. And you also bring even the media that we talked about. The media needs to come there and cover a story. You look for one person who has been frustrated for a long time in Kipkaren. And she will say, I've lived in Kipkaren for 20 years. And I don't have the title deed. I cannot access even anything to do with loans because I'm not sure even whether my children will be there. You see those kind of advocacy efforts will yield fruits and we'll see Kipkaren Estate having title deeds. Senior, I will see which means I can use for us to work together on the same. I think those were some of the key issues. Then the final one was on finance bill. I would want to also comment on the same. And it all boils down to disrespecting public voice. We all say this is not what should be done, but people just decide to do what they feel that they should be doing. And I was seeing the clip yesterday from the deputy president when he was telling a team in I think it was in Machakos there, you are opposing this thing, but you don't have the numbers. This thing will pass. So we need to see a way of taking our leaders to account. And in our own forum that we are with Menja and the others, even the other day when there was issues to do with fertilizer and there was issues to do with the Ministry of Agriculture, you know, we were pointing out some of the MPs from this region who were not able to support a certain aspect that we wanted. When the CECS in charge of agriculture was being questioned in Parliament, then we would bring out which MP from our region supported, or there were those who did not attend. So they were being questioned, where were you when important decision of this kind was being decided? So we need to take our leaders to account, and we should stop trivializing and making us look like we are the children of the lesser God. I don't want to touch much. I know Martin Shikuku, you pointed out some issues, but that one has been touched by our sister here, because some of the issues that you pointed also includes the issues of implementation of the provisions on land. These are things that needs to be brought out by our CSOs and also our leaders. Munialo, you pointed out the change of priorities. My sister here has touched on that. And also representation of the rural areas. I think it is time, and I know your structure of CSOs goes all the way to the... You know, the reason why we have these structures of civil society or structures of associations coming together is for you to benefit from each other. Because if you are alone in Soy, nobody can hear you. But if your voice is brought to be part of the Uasin Gishu civil society organization, then your voice can be heard and you can be leveraged to come up a little bit to be heard. Thank you for that. I don't want to take more time, but if you organize the community CSOs, I'm coming up with an association, and I'll formally also be joining our CSO network. It's called the Center for Public Participation. So once I'm done in doing the registration and all those, then we will come and seriously engage on those issues, including what Menja pointed out. Thank you.
Great. So I think we'll invite Senior Omanyala to also share with us one or two issues regarding the land questions that were mentioned by gentleman here na our senior Kendagor. So karibu Omanyala.
Why am I saying so? That when we had When we had the land dispute tribunal, Mzee Kendagor, you know that. Tulikuwa na land dispute tribunal. That was the land dispute tribunal in the country that was registered. I was a member of that land dispute tribunal. Gazetted member. Not just gazetted, but first trained by the School of Law, given the certificates of certification, and then we ran the land dispute tribunal for 7 years in this county. At that time is when I learned the problems we have, our people have in our county. Problem number one is problem of ignorance, of not knowing our rights, of how to handle our land issues. And the problems of not knowing how to transfer, do the inheritance of our land. The problems of not knowing the difference between farmland and commercial land. All those are the problems that are itching us up to today. After the land dispute tribunal was set aside by the parliament, because the Law Society of Kenya petitioned that the land dispute tribunal was not anchored on an act of parliament, it was set aside. But we had done a marvelous job. Mr. Kendagor, you'll agree with me, that we settled several cases in this county, that if we had journeyed that journey, so many cases of land disputes could have really ceased in our county. But thank God, it went round during the Dwale time. It came again through the same parliament that now it was created as a land court annex mediation. The court annex mediation, which is now in place, that is taking the topmost role in the land environment, solving land issues. Not only land, almost every issue, whereby we now have professionally trained mediators. And if you are here and you are a mediator, please stand up. Stand up to be shown, to be counted, because these are your people. If you are here and you are a accredited mediator, these are the people who handle now your problems in the court annex mediation. Even when they are here, they are already in court, handling your cases. No single case is not being handled. Look at them and take cognition of them. This is now where the issue of land is being addressed. At the court annex mediation, have a seat. The problem we have in our county here, and I'm privileged to sit before you, if our town manager was here, he could speak the way I'm speaking, because I sit in the municipal board. And what we do in the municipal board, it is your problems on land issue. Today we have had a very big problem in carving the space for the city, because the very we have said no. There is a space area which is required for us to attain a city. We've gone out to say, let us give ourselves room to change our map from the town map, so that we can, bring some closures of land parcels that are next to us, to be annexed to the city, which could be of a greatest benefit to you. Because when your land has been annexed to a city, all values go up. All status of your land will change. But the resistance came so hard that we could not penetrate. And that's why even the delay of us having our city status come closer to us. Because we are not educated to the change and the benefits of our own land we have. I know we are covered by and surrounded by land farms. This is a farmland. This is a farmland. We are happy. But now the changes of farmland to commercial are what is so much resisted without knowing that there is more benefit in that your farmland when it changes its status from farmland to commercial. Not to the city, but to you, the individual. I want to give a simple example. We have the farmlands of Itek. The farmlands of Itek, which are next door here, were lands that were going the other time when they were called farm. They were sold at 30,000 per acre. But today, the same Itek farmland that is within the city of Uasin Gishu, what we want to be a city, is going at what? You cannot buy a farmland of Itek here if it is not less than 50 million shillings per acre. Am I right or I'm wrong? 50 million shillings per acre. And this is the secret what we are saying. Surely if you have a farmland that's supposed to be annexed to our city, can you be the person saying hallelujah? Can you be the person saying hallelujah? This rates is a problem. Who has told you rates is a problem? If my land will be going at that level, and what are the rates? Even if the rates have to come, there will be rates for you and me, and they will be there. So what I'm trying to say is this. We are holding very, very pertinent cases. I personally hold very pertinent cases of land issues. I have solved a case of 27 years. My brother, am I right? Yes, here in Uasin Gishu. Even 37 years. We have solved those cases of 37 years. I have solved a case of 27 years. It has gone through 4 district commissioners. It has gone through all type of lawyers. Some even went to be with their gods. But now, coming to court annex mediation, we solved those cases. And they are now happy and they are settled. It is land issues. So what I'm saying here, because the issue of land litigation came in, I want to educate you, my people. My people. If you are educated, I'm educated. If you are safe, I'm safe. Let us completely disregard the issue of land litigation. But let us go for court annex mediation. Let's mediate upon our own programs of land in Uasin Gishu. We shall be completely safe. We shall be completely safe because the government has served us with a full-fledged court annex mediation, with a full-fledged ADR, with a full-fledged judges and the whole department. Go there. The lucky ones today who have understood what it means by court annex mediation are withdrawing their cases from the judges. They are withdrawing their from the lawyers, from the judges. I want my case in court annex mediation. 2 sittings only, your case is solved. There's no money you'll pay, not a shilling. You don't pay me as a mediator, and your cases are solved. We have not only gone to cases of mediation land, almost all cases, we are now even solving even the criminal matters. So my brothers, the purpose of you coming out of your house today to be here is to help you to help yourself. So that's why it is so important you are being here. We created this forum for the sake that we remove the ignorance we have amidst us, which is itching us, which is making us poorer by not knowing how to handle our land issues. And I'm asking us, the aged persons, kindly, the problem we have is to stick on this title deed. I am 80. The title deed is mine. I have my 5 wives. I have my 75 children. I am still saying the title deed, the land is mine. My advice is, create a small portion for you and your wife. Give out what belongs to them. Give out what belongs to them in time, so that before God says, come and rest with me, you don't leave a quagmire in your family. Divided children. I've just read you a case that's going on. So this is the biggest problem we have. Families are really distorted. They are fighting, they are dying, they are killing each other. We have buried them just because the father's negligence to stick to the title deed. Subdivide your land when you are still sensible. Say, this is for this is for this, and leave this for me for my grave. After all, what do you need again? It's just yours for your grave. They are supposed to take care of you. If you do that, we shall settle our cases in this. And the problem again is multi-taxing on your land. You are selling to her, you are selling to me, you are selling to him, the same piece of land. That's the disease we have. If we address that, tafadhali, kama umehusia mtu moja shamba, patia yake. Sio watu 10 kwa shamba moja, inakuwa sasa a curse to your family. I'm sorry to have taken that long. It was better off that I educate ourselves on that bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So naona ashaanza kutafuta usaidizi wa mapema, si ndio? Yeah, so we want to appreciate the opportunity. I guess there are no more questions, but I would encourage us to participate in these discussions at all levels. Kuna swali moja huko?
I'm very sorry. Tumeonywa nafasi, saa yetu imekwisha. Na unajua tumeenda na malipo yenye tumelipa kwa muda hii tumepewa. Paka tuheshimu wenye wameturuhusu tukue hapa. Nafikiri na nimeombwa na Hans Seidel Foundation kwamba kindly come down, we take this group. Hata tukianzia huko Soi peke yake leo, kesho tutaenda Moiben, siku ingine mwezi ingine, wakati ingine tutaenda Moise Bridge. You see how much you are needed. Please take it back to your boardroom and say there is this need. And with this able, thank you, sir. Yes. Thank you, thank you. You can see words of wisdom from the old men. So kindly, I'm requesting you to take this to your boardroom, that today, because of the circumstances, we have our governor in place, we have all the government system is here. So whoever was, they were supposed to be here, but from yesterday, they are so landlocked. Kindly let us, if it is possible. Now you know, we have Kara here, we have our CSOs here. Just give us a command, and we shall do. We shall do, even if it's not here, we shall do. But tafadhali, kwa heshima kabisa, nipatie mzee huyu, aseme tu kwa niaba yetu yote, uliza hiyo swali yako na ikue ya mwisho. Kwa heshima, yes, wewe. Na baada ya wewe, na asio wewe mambo yako imekwisha. Mambo yako imekwisha. Mambo yako imekwisha. Lakini ndio nimesema, lakini sasa kwa sababu muda sio yetu sasa, naomba tafadhali just a very quick one, direct, na tukitoka hapa tuna kikombe cha chai hapa chini, na nimeona njaa ile tuko naye. The elders here, please, Kendagor, I've seen the hunger. Please, Barno, we need to move faster to make sure this team comes back, because we are the ones to tell them to come back if we are ready. Thank you. Mzee, uliza swali yako. Sema tu swali.
Yeah.
Sema tu swali. Na kujua tulifanya kazi pamoja. Tulikula mshahara pamoja.
Asante. Kumbe hujanisahau. Sasa I want you to hear one just one thing.
You like her to answer or just a burning issue?
Msikize tu alafu.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Take
I'm always in the street or somewhere. We can meet to advise you, especially the project. You might need help or just advise you.
It's a burning issue. I don't want to say that person. You talked about land. Prime land is tough. Somebody had land. And some time back, I'm talking about 40 years ago, somebody invested. When he was working, I joined a group where the farmer, prime land is town, after you say a former colonial. Now they bought the land. They started developing. And then, what happened later? A very powerful, say, the highest authority in the land, you know what I mean, came and took this land by force. He used the administration, provincial, district level, land was subdivided, sold to a foreigner, an investor who came from outside the country. Up to now, the land is his. The lawyers for that land case have died mysteriously. 2 of them. Makasasa, even the Uasin who are managing this land, they have died. And the land is still in the name of this foreigner. What can this person do? What do you think about it? Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
With my authority, the mediators are here. Yeah, take notes.
Let them take notes. They do a meet up so they are remember. Then I'll go to that person. I don't want to say who they are.
Thank you. And we have
the
taken
person. Thank you very much.
Authority of a person, or it is the law. And that's why now it is the law of mediation. In mediation, there is no lawyer. You see, in mediation, there is no lawyer. Bring that matter here. Hakuna cha kusema ati ilikuwa nani at the highest. The highest is the president. And when it comes to mediation, they have mediated matters of even lawyers themselves. Have mediated matters of, you know, yes, I've mediated matters of the sitting members of parliament here, Bwana Kendagor, and they have sat before me, and I have solved their cases. There is no matter of superiority when it comes to court annex mediation. It is matter of facts. Oh, thanks. Tafadhali, naomba, I want Madam to come to give her remarks. Hiyo ni yangu. Sasa umenipatia, hiyo sasa ni yangu. Just leave it to me. Watch, kaa tu chini.
Yeah, so as she comes, I just had one request. This year, kulikuwa na survey report by the county IBP, report inajiita County Budget Transparency Survey Report. If you Google that, you will get the information of how our county was rated. For the last 3 years, county yetu ya Uasin Gishu imeretiwa namba 3 kutoka kule mwisho. Reason being, the people who are responsible to upload such a simple information, simple documents like CIDPs, simple documents like ADPs, simple documents like quarterly reports and annual reports kwa hiyo page, hawajafanya hivyo. So we need to come out as CSOs, tuangalie, tukue na platform na wao, tuwaulize ni kwa nini hizo documents hazija uploadiwa haswa kulingana na vile inatakikana. We promised ourselves that budget cycle process is ongoing right now, sindio? Budget ya which year? 2024, 2020, 25. Tuko at which stage? Iko kwa? So we really need to interrogate hiyo sako ya budget so that we understand. So that wakati tutakuwa tunasema hii haijafanyika, we have reference points to make. So I want to, there is an announcement here. It's okay. Okay, so off record, kindly, all the cameras should be off. Thank you, Senior Omanyala, for that. So it is
Thank you very much. I'm very sure you have learned something. And I know, I'm sorry we started a bit late. And we've rushed things very much. Let me tell you from Kara, where I sit, and from the CEO's desk, we invited the senior most person in the county. Who is the senior most person in the county? The governor, His Excellency, yes. We also invited the municipal senior person in the county. Who is that? The manager, yes. And as up to when I was doing introductions, he had confirmed to be on the way coming. So we'll leave that as it is. But there's something Dolly said about sovereign power belongs to the people. You're aware that your voice is very, very loud when you're in groups, right? Ukishika mabango size uende pale kwa town utashikwa, and you're going to go to prison, and we're going to look for your people to come and bail you out. But it is good for us to register civil society, civil business organizations, CBOs, be part of a CBO, be part of a resident association. As Kara, we are the umbrella body of resident association, and we encourage you, please form those resident associations. Join us, we have the forms there, join us, join a resident association, voice your voices there under the resident associations, okay? Because it's a bit professional and your voice is louder when you're part of groups, unlike when you are alone. Join the CSO, the civil society that are here, join them. Because once you do that, then you move forward. A lot of things have been discussed today. Align yourselves with the policies and the laws of Eldoret. Before something is passed in your parliament, the county parliament, before it is passed, jua ni nini inaenda huko mbele. Because nowadays, it seems that we have laws being passed, na watu hawajui ni nini kinakuwa passed hapo. Please make sure you have a clue, you're involved, get interested, have interest. Make sure you have interest in what that is being passed there. So that when we call for public participations, when we call for this level of meetings, and I am very grateful that our partners, Hansedel, are here, because now when we want to start going into the local levels, we are doing it under policing, policing events. We want now to go even at the counties and do ground levels now, so that at least now we don't do county level in such a scenario, but now we also go out there to the other people. Be part of those engagements, be part of that, because when we call for those events, show up. Sometimes it's very difficult for a leader to come and listen to a topic when we're going to discuss about accountability, because they don't have anything to be accountable for, because they haven't shown where the accountability level is. Be there, show up, and thank you very much. I want to close and give the closing remarks and say asanteni sana to everyone for coming here. We will be back, and we will be back with feedback. And we are going to write to the governor's office with what deliberations have been happened today and call for a meeting. Just sit down with him and have a discussion, and also call you again and give you your feedbacks. Thank you very much. There is a cup of tea that is here. Could have finished at 11:30. The cup of tea is still hot, it's not cold. There's going to be a cup of tea, I think, downstairs. We'll have a cup of tea there. And I don't think there's anything else. We're going to ask, we opened with a word of prayer. We close with a word of prayer. I think I'll ask someone to come and pray for us. Yeah, we can have a lady pray for us. I know we all believe in a sovereign being. We determines of our religion. We still. Okay, just kindly stand up. We have a word of prayer.
Basi tuombe. Baba wetu, Mungu wa utukufu, katika jina la Yesu tunalinua jina lako kwa sababu umetuwezesha tukakuwa pamoja kama jamii. Asante kwa sababu ya Kara kutuweka pamoja na washauri wengine ambao wametusaidia kufahamu majukumu yetu katika jamii. Baba wetu, ulitupatia neema ya kusafiri asubuhi na pia tunarudi manyumbani baada ya haya. Yale tumejifunza itusaidie popote tuendapo, tuambie wengine wajue yale yanahitaji sisi kufanya kama wakazi wa popote pale tunaishi katika kaunti yote na katika mji wote ule, tuweze kuwa barua kuwasomea wengine waelewe chenye kinaendelea. Asante kwa sababu ya viongozi wetu ambao wameandaa haya. Asante kwa sababu ya Ans and Sedel Foundation kujitolea kutoa fedha zao kwa ajili ya wengine kuelimishwa. Asante kwa wote ambao wamehusika. Naomba haya tunapoachana tufumuane kimwili, kiroho tuwe pamoja. Kwa jina la Yesu Kristo nimeomba na kushukuru.